Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today I have Julie with UnCruise. UnCruise specializes in small ship sailing in Alaska and a few other destinations. They are a great option for anyone who wants to see Alaska and really be able to get to, the backcountry and not be port centric. And if you want to go on another cruise for Alaska, that's not your big ship sailing. So welcome, Julie. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Miss Darby. Hello, everyone. Thanks again for tuning in to learn about small boat cruising with UnCruise Adventures. Just for bandwidth purposes, I'm going to click off my photo there, but I love to start the presentation, Darby, with this great video that will set the tone of UnCruise Adventures before I go through my slides. So let's take a look at UnCruise and this fun, upbeat video.
Let's do this right. Let's go to.
Those are some of the reasons you would like to go to Alaska, you're in luck, because it's exactly what we do in Alaska. In fact, this is all our entire breadth of product. You can see Alaska, Pacific Northwest, Columbian Snake River, Hawaiian Islands, Sea of Cortez, the Galapagos, including Belize and Costa Rica and Panama. But of course, today, we are talking about Alaska. And let me just set the scene about UnCruise Adventures, because we love to throw around that word adventure. And often people think of the physical aspect of adventure. But with UnCruise Adventure is certainly, it meets the novice all the way to the experience. And with adventure, it is not only the physical, but more importantly, it's about the personal growth and challenges. It's about broadening one horizon, wanting new experiences. Adventure is all about beauty and nature and mental health and meeting new people, and above all, life experiences. So that is what UnCruise is all about with every one of our cruises. And equal to, of course, that great adventure is place. It's so important for UnCruise Adventures to provide our guests with discovering new places without the masses. Places that you couldn't get to if you weren't on a small, nimble vessel. Unique, remote, and definitely unforgettable places. And the last pillar to everything that we do on board is connection. Not only connection to adventure and place, but connection to the locals, fellow passengers, wildlife, culture, history, nature. So if any one of these pillars resonate with you, you might be willing to go on a really awesome UnCruise. And Darby, I love this photo, and I know that's why you love it as well, right? It's that getting into that backcountry, as you mentioned at the beginning, those remote areas. We're not port centric. We certainly leave from a port and we come back to a port, but we bring all of our goodies with us and get into the remote areas and really discover the area, and in this case, Alaska.
And Julie, can I ask a question? Am I correct in that if the captain knows that there is some wildlife in another area, he can actually change the itinerary a little bit to kind of go towards that? Am I correct?
You are exactly right. Wildlife dictates our schedule. So if we know we have 6 vessels that sail up in Southeast Alaska, the Tonga National Forest. And if we hear that there are whales breaching or bear foraging, any of those things, and we're in the vicinity, we will absolutely, first and foremost, that is why we go there. So, and often wildlife is the number one reason people want to get up to Alaska to really experience the wild in the wild, right? Darby, I'd love to share another video with you. It is with our owner and CEO. His name is Captain Dan Blanchard, and he is the brainchild of our entire experience. In fact, 26 years ago, he decided to put 3 small vessels in Alaska to show people this beautiful area. In fact, I'll let Dan tell the story. So I'm going to cue up this next video for the audience here.
Great.
Our world really isn't so small. There's a lot of places out there that are far away and are hard to get to, and the experiences are rich. I found that people come to Alaska for various reasons, but the biggest, quite frankly, is a feeling of being in the wild, a feeling of being free. For a week or two each year, when you come with us, you can truly unplug and reconnect. This land is just, it breathes life into you. I feel really connected to this place as an Alaskan. The most exciting thing for me is taking people to my special little places that nobody writes about, that nobody knows about, except for us, a few of our captains, and a few of our expedition leaders, because we know that for the experience in nature to really take hold, you can't be in there with 80 or 100 people. You need to be in small groups. The itinerary might change on any given hour. If there's whales to be seen, we're going to move to the whales. If we're in a place like this, it's calm, we're going to break out the kayaks and the paddleboards. You should know, if you don't already, nature doesn't work on our clock. She's on her own clock, and we're going to follow hers. It's a massive, massive land. But even within that massive land are these small, unique places. That's what we're all about, and what we will always continue to be.
I love when Dan says that we work on Mother Nature's clock, and just as you mentioned, Darby, that's exactly what we do. Now, when we leave from the port, we take all of our goodies with us, and that's the great thing about UnCruise. And there's a lot of uns and UnCruise, but certainly that we take a fleet of kayaks, our paddle boards, we offer nature walks. In fact, when we offer our nature walks, we offer 3 different levels. We offer a nice light walk, a more moderate, and then a hard charger. And in Alaska, we call it bushwhacking. So again, that's catering for that novice all the way up to the experience. You don't need to know as a client or going on an UnCruise what level you'll be at. We will figure that out once we're on board. Our expedition leaders, they'll plan and manage, and they'll even teach you how to do all of our activities. So we typically will have 3 activities in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. Our expedition leaders the night before will talk about to the whole audience on board the vessel what we'll be offering the next day. And then they'll come to each one of you and take your adventure order. And that's where you get to customize your day.
And they can do as much or as little as they want.
They can do
If they don't want to do something that day, they can just observe, and great.
You're absolutely right. And if they didn't want to do any of the activities, they're going to see a whole lot just from the deck of the vessel. And it's interesting. They'll start off as if a couple comes on, they'll start off doing the activity together. And then very soon after that, day 2, I want to go hiking. Great, I'm going to go kayaking. I'll see you at lunchtime. So it's really fun. The camaraderie is very, very very, very instant. And for those your single clients out there, this is a great way to get on a group activity, but also have that single time as well. So all of these activities, again, are included. You can do as much as or as little as Darby had just mentioned, and we will handhold you through this process. Now, I think our silver bullet with UnCruise, because we go out and take all of our great toys with us, is our Easy Dock. It's exclusive to UnCruise Adventures. Not only do we load all of our Zodiacs, or those small inflatable boats, from our Easy Dock, but the kayaks, look at that, Darby, they fit right in.
Amazing, yeah.
Isn't that cool? So
That's why I think that any age can go on an UnCruise and have a wonderful time, from the kids to the families. To my parents went, and they were in their 70s, like early 70s when they went, and they loved it.
yes, we love to say, you know, eight and beyond just have such a great time. We take all the hard part out of kayaking and put it right on this Easy Dock. You simply step inside. We'll help adjust your foot pedals. We'll hand you your paddle, that we adjust your seat, and then we very gently glide you into the water. Now, all of our activities are guided by our expedition team. So not only are you doing this really neat activity, you're going at your own pace, it's narrated by our expedition team. So you're learning along the way. And as you said, Darby, families love that because everybody is learning, which is really pretty awesome. Now, I have got another video, which is pretty awesome. It is by two of our expedition leaders. It's Hannah and Mike, and they're going to talk about kayaking. So for those of you who are watching this and kind of curious about how the whole kayaking thing works, this will be a great way for you to learn. So let's check out Hannah and Mike as they talk.
One of my favorite things to do is to bring brand new kayakers out on the water off of our boats.
In the beginning of the week, we offer a kayak 101 and a kayak orientation. So we expect that we have people who have never kayaked before. We'll teach you to kayak. We'll teach people to kayak. We'll make sure that anybody who wants to can get into a kayak, and then we'll go out kayaking. In Southeast Alaska, we're fortunate enough to have these big mountains that block a lot of the ocean swell. We're in the inside passage.
By and large, our waters are calm, and we have some pretty resourceful ways that we launch our kayaks out onto the water that make loading them pretty easy, even for folks who have never been out in a kayak before.
Here on the Legacy, we've got the Sea Dragon, and on our other boats, we've got the Easy Docks. It is a really, really great way to experience this place.
So what did you think of that, Darby?
That's amazing. I'm ready to go.
I love it. And I bet you'll have a lot of great listeners that would love to come with you.
Right.
Another part of UnCruise is that we're US flag. And why that's really important is that we sail out of a US port. We don't need to go into Canada like the big guys. They're foreign flags. So it's an old maritime law, but because we're US flag, our home office is right in Seattle. All 6 of our vessels get ready. In fact, we already have 3 up. Actually, we have 4 now up in Alaska. We started April 8th. And the other 2 are making their way up there as well. And then we spend the entire season sailing out of Juneau, Ketchikan, or Sitka. So for those of you listening, you want to go to Alaska, we give you 7 nights, 8 days in Alaska. No time wasted getting up to Alaska or coming back from Alaska like the big guys do. You're really immersed in that inside passage and the Tonga National Forest, which is such an abundance of glacial activities and whales and bears and all the great things that people love to go to Alaska for. I'm not going to go through each one of these itineraries, but these are the 6 of our itineraries. And the map is a close-up of the inside passage and the Tonga National Forest. And you can see, remember Mike said we are surrounded by big, beautiful mountains. So we get these great calm waters in the inside passage, and these maps really depict that. You can see we're always under protected water. We never go out into the ocean. And each itinerary, and Darby can guide you through which one is amazing and would work well for you. But It's either Ketchikan, this top left, Ketchikan to Juneau. I'm going down the middle left is Juneau round trip, making a circumference around Admiralty Island, which has the highest concentration of brown bear in the world. And then this circle area, again, I'm in that middle left, that's Glacier Bay National Park. And we spend tremendous amount of time up in this area. Check this itinerary out. It's Wild Woolly and Wow, and what a crazy name that is, but it's all Wild Woolly and Wow. And this was inspired by our friends at REI. We have a branding relationship with REI, and they helped us design this itinerary. So it's pretty awesome. If you've never been to Sitka, we have an itinerary that goes from Juneau to Sitka. I'm on the top right map now. And then you'll see it's Juneau round trip and goes into Haines. And that's the Glacier Bay National Park in Haines. And then Alaska's glacier country. And we try to name these on things that we really highlight, but they're all, the hardest part is picking them because there's so many great.
Right. I don't think you could mispick an itinerary because you're going to see so much and just get to these small areas where you won't see a big cruise ship.
You're exactly right. And you know, another on an UnCruise is we have more Glacier Bay National Park passes than any other cruise line, big or small.
Oh, amazing.
It's pretty awesome. It allows us to get into not only beautiful Marjorie Glacier, which is in this bottom left image, which everybody loves to go up to Marjorie, but getting into getting out and hiking, getting out in our kayaks, getting out in our Zodiacs, nature walks, getting into that back country of Glacier Bay that nobody else gets into. So that's the discovery, that's the authenticity, that's the real magic of getting in a small vessel, because we have access to so much greatness up in Glacier Bay and then everywhere in the Tonga National Forest. And those are all of our 7-night, 8-day cruises. We also have a 12-night, 13-day cruise. And these are those positioning cruises that I was talking about, where we start in Alaska and we head up to the Inside Passage at the beginning of the season. And when we, at the end of the season, when we go to Juneau, back down to Seattle. So it's a really great way for a 12-night to get a great value, a little longer than a week. And then we have one of our vessels, the Legacy, that will make this 3 times throughout, 2 times in July and 1 in August. So if you're being a little bit longer, and for those listening that haven't traveled in 2 years and this is your year, well, we've got a 14-night, 15-day cruise that will either go from Juneau to Ketchikan or Ketchikan to Juneau. But both of these itineraries will have 2 days in Glacier Bay National Park. It's a total immersion into the Inside Passage in Tonga National Forest. So pretty cool stuff.
Right. That's where you actually get to really see, you know, Alaska, how it is. Because just from the sea is one thing, but you need to have the time to be able to get on the land. And with UnCruise, you can do that.
Absolutely. And it's such unique remote areas. The beginning, I spoke about, maybe those who may have missed it, that we started April 8th, which is extremely early for the quote unquote Alaska season, right? I mean, most of the big guys are starting as early, we'll start as early as May, but you know, some into the June area. But we love this early season. We call it Alaska Awakening, and it really is the springtime in Alaska. It is when those flowers are just starting to bloom. It has historically the driest months up in Southeast Alaska. We have seen so much northern lights because the days aren't as long time of year. So the images or photos coming back from our captain crew and the early seasons in April, it was just phenomenal. The whales are migrating up from those warm waters. They have been mating and giving birth. They don't typically eat during that time. So now they're coming up to the cooler waters, and this is their time to feed, to put on that weight. So it's a really great active time for the whales. the bear are coming out of hibernation. They're hungry, they're angry. I guess they're angry.
Right.
They're foraging on the beach, you know, getting those mussels and clams and barnacles, all of those things. So this early season is really, really special to us. So just know, and even if you feel like you would love to do this, we will certainly repeat this in 2023. So please reach out to Darby. She can absolutely set you up with this early season. Now, Darby, you know but better than anyone, the land portion, people love to do the cruise, but if they want something a little longer, they love to extend their
Right. Mm-hmm.
So because we're not super port centric, we'll get on land, but we don't go into the bigger cities.
Right.
If you're embarking in Juneau, Ketchikan, or Sitka, we certainly encourage you to extend your stay with a pre or a post. And then we also have this great land portion that includes 2 nights in Anchorage, 2 nights in Talkeetna, and 2 nights in Denali. And we go up to the
Nice.
on the deluxe dome car. Yeah, really. And this is a pre-night. We love setting up the pre-night. You fly your furthest at the beginning of the trip up in this area. Then you'd fly down to Juneau, Ketchikan, or Sitka, and then get on the cruise portion. And then of course you've got the shorter portion, especially in your part of the world, that East Coast. It's nice at the end of the trip to have a little shorter flight back.
Right.
To your home city. So really great pre-cruise if you would like to see that part. And if you're going all that way, why not, right? So we have a fleet of 9 vessels. I mentioned 6 of them are in Alaska, April through October. I talk about Alaska Awakening, getting up early, but I didn't talk about how we stay in Alaska all the way through the I think October 8th is our last departure up in Alaska. By design, our vessels are under 90 passengers, and it's really important for us to have that smaller group. So when we go for nature walks, we don't exceed 12 for any nature walk group. Mm-hmm. So our cabins are anywhere from 11 to 43 cabins. And we have a 22 and a 36, and these are great charter. We get a lot of families. You know, people are still in their bubbles these days. They still are comfortable just being with their family and friends. And we have seen such an uptick with charters. So for those listening out there, if you're interested in a family charter, please reach out to Ms. Darby. She could absolutely hook you up. Now, our vessels are they're fairly diverse, but they function very similar. And this particular deck plan is of our Wilderness Legacy. That is the vessel that Mike and Hannah were talking about. And all of them, again, function very, very similarly. And I am now on the upper deck. And I just want you to know we keep, by design, we don't fill our decks with suites or balconies. We want to keep that 360 deck wide open because so much wildlife is to be seen right from the ship, or the beauty, or the, everything that we do get to see up in Alaska. So having ample, now I'm on the lounge deck, this forward bow, the top bridge deck, this is where our hot tubs, we store all of our gear up here. We do have an open bridge policy. You can go hang out with the captain and crew, help us spot wildlife. We love it.
It's always fun, right?
It's just so nice to have people really get excited about it. We have, of course, binoculars on board for everybody, but there's 2 types of cabins. One that you enter in from the outside deck, and I'm again on the upper deck, and I'm going to go all the way down to the main deck here, or ones that you enter in from the inside of the cabin. And that's where a pro like Darby can really help you get the right cabin, the right ship, the right itinerary, and really make this your vacation. So I, of course, have got another video coming up, and I talk about seeing the wildlife right from the decks of the ship. And I'm going to set this up. It's a very short video, but I'm going to set it up for us. Our expedition leader and some guests were out on the bow of our Safari Quest, and they spotted a whale breaching in the distance. And then this happened.
Awesome.
I know, very intriguing. So that is what
They were
Mother
definitely showing off now, weren't they? Those whales.
Yeah, totally. That's what Mother Nature gives back to us. And that's really, there's no wild whale excursion you have to go on. We see it right from the decks of the vessel. So, and you could probably notice those listening to the presentation and seeing it, that everybody's dressed super casual. What you wear for breakfast, you can wear to dinner. So there's no dress up with UnCruise Adventures. It's your vessel for the week. We want you super comfortable and just hanging out and being you. And it's, again, all about the great immersion into the destination. Well, this is certainly another reason why people like to cruise in general.
Yes, right.
The amazing food, and all of our meals on board are healthful dining experiences that the executive chefs use ingredients that reflect the local flavor of each one of our destinations. And in this case, it's Alaska. So Dungeness crab is really prevalent in these areas, and we always feature a night of Dungeness crab. So if you're not allergic to seafood, this is really a fun night for everybody. We do have a farm to table approach on all of our vessels. So when possible, we feature fresh seafood that's locally sourced and also fresh produce. In fact, on our Mexico Sea of Cortez program, we have a farmer that solely grows just for UnCruise.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's pretty cool. Hawaii, the same thing. And then, of course, it's really fun to see the vessel pull up and get these huge boxes of crab right from the person that just got the Dungeness crab. So
Yeah,
really,
you can't get much fresher than that, right?
you really can't. And it is all a part of the experiences. And I will say mornings feature an early riser breakfast. We have fresh fruit, baked on board, pastries and breads, and then a full breakfast complete with specialty items is served after. Because not everybody wants a big meal, so we always have that early riser. And for those who want a nice breakfast, we featured that as well. And then everybody goes out and does their great activities with our expedition leaders. And then they come back on board. Lunches range from maybe a pasta salad, a sandwich. We have just amazing soups. And depending where you're at, some ethnic dishes on board. And then everybody does, again, another afternoon activity or not, just hangs out on board if they would like to do that. Come back, we have happy hour on board, and then dinner, you get a choice of entrees from our delicious locally fresh seafood, meats. We always have a vegetarian dish on board. And oftentimes people can't decide, so they'll get, half veggie and half whatever it is, whatever you would like, we can do on board. So dietary, if any of you listening have a dietary need, we can absolutely handle that on board. Just let Darby know. She'll let our staff know, and the chef will greet you on board and talk about the menu for the week. So it really makes it nice.
That's personalized, definitely.
Yes. And I've been mentioning it's included. And I know a lot of people are like, what exactly is included? So I'm going to just go over a few of all the inclusions and then what's not included, because sometimes it's a shorter list, but sometimes that's helpful. So all the activities, presentations, all the shore activities and excursions that we do are all included. We spend a tremendous amount of time in national parks, preserves, and monuments. So of course, all of those fees are all included. Our narration and expertise, all the teaching and things that we do on a daily basis with our expedition teams are included. If you arrive the day of arrival and day of disembarkation, our meet and greet and transfer service is included. All of our beverages are included, so non-alcoholic as well as spirits, wine, and all the great microbrews. And that's one thing I didn't talk about on the food slide. Not only do we locally source our food, but we also locally source some of our spirits. So in Alaska, there's a great distillery up in Haines that are known for their gins, and we bring that on. And we have, of course,
that's amazing. Really can, experience the local culture and the local, products that are offered there.
It is, and that's when people discovered the microbrews up in Alaska are insane. They're so delicious, and so people just love, learning about the Alaskan Amber or one of the great Alaskan microbrews. So we'll always try to integrate the local spirits of the area, and it's not just one or two each day. It's whatever you want, whenever you would want. And then we also have some wellness amenities on board. I mentioned those hot tubs that by design are located on the outside deck. So maybe after a day of kayaking or nature walk, or maybe you just want to sit in the hot tub and grab a newly found Alaskan Amber or a cup of coffee and just watch the glaciers go. And then we have yoga mats on board. Often we are using muscles that we haven't used in a while. So it's a great
Right. Stretch out.
to stretch out. What's not included are port taxes and fees. And of course, Darby can go through those with you. Any discretionary gratuities you would like to extend to our vessel crew. And the cool part of UnCruise, you leave right from the destination. So that airfare to and from the city is not included. Of course, Darby is a total pro. She'll go over any travel protection plans that will fit your
Yes.
And the last portion of the presentation, I'm just going to talk about other cool stuff, just things that the audience may have popped into their head. I mentioned solos. We have single cabins on every one of our vessels that sail in Alaska. If you are a single traveler, please reach out to Darby at your earliest convenience because they do go fast. Although we are running a special for right now for 2022 that there's zero single supplement, which
That's nice.
slide. So
That's very nice, right?
we talked a little bit about families. Kids 8 to 17, they'll receive a $500 discount. Again, everybody is learning. We love to say we disconnect so you can connect. We don't have, by design, we don't have the internet on our vessels. You'll be able to pick it up from some of the surrounding cities. But Dan, boy, he is very, very adamant that we want people out there experiencing and absorbing this beautiful nature. And then, of course, if you have a group or a charter family, if you're celebrating a milestone anniversary, retirement, anything of that nature, or just simply love to just hang with the family, please reach out to Darby. She can set all of that up for you. And I love this slide. We say we've been social distancing since 1996.
Yeah, right.
Company, because that's what we do. We've never been in the masses. We never go into big crowded cities. We're always in that great backcountry. So of course we do have protocols on board, and Darby can go through those with you. Now we have a wonderful digital brochure. It functions like a digital brochure, but with UnCruise, of course, we always have something up our sleeve. I like to say you can go cyber cruising with our digital brochure because we've got great videos embedded in the brochure. So it's a great way for if you want to go to Alaska, or if you love this style of cruising, if you want to go to any one of our destinations, reach out to Darby. She can send you one of these digital brochures so you too can just really immerse yourself into the destinations. So here's our slide through June 15th. We've got some really great promotions going on. I mentioned those 12-night cruises from Seattle to Juneau or Juneau to Seattle. Right now on our Wilderness Legacy, you just paid the price for 7 for 12 nights. So it's a really awesome deal.
That is an awesome.
Yeah, so if you're looking for that longer cruise, but I love the price of the 7-night, this might be a good one for you. I also mentioned that kids savings, $500 per kid. Well, we're doubling that. We have $1,000 per child if they are in the age range of 8 to 17 on any new bookings coming through. And that really cool REI inspired itinerary, that Whales, Woolly, and Wow itinerary in Alaska, we have $1,000 off per cabin. We also have, we're kind of surpassed that April date, but if you want to go in May and June on our Wilderness Legacy, we have a $1,500 off per cabin on what's available. And for a group, a family, we talked a little bit about families and groups. You'll receive $1,000 group savings on the Wilderness Legacy. And here's that zero single supplement I was talking about. So traditionally, it is if you were a single and you were going to go into a double cabin, there would be a supplement added. Right now, we have a zero single supplement. So all of these specials, please reach out to Darby. She knows everything about them and she would love to get you into that perfect cabin. And wouldn't you know, I've got one more video. I think I love to wrap up with a video, especially after we've talked about a destination, to just sort of bring it all together. So I'm going to roll this one video and then I have a few extra closing slide, Darby. So here,
Great, thank you.
So I love that video again, just to really bring everything together. And I've got one more special surprise for the audience, not only all those great discounts that we talked about a few slides ago, but when you book with Darby, you'll receive $100 per cabin certificate to our gear shop. And there's nothing better when you go on an uncruise to be able to get online and buy that cool t-shirt or that great hat or whatever your needs are, a neat bag, whatever it is, but it's $100 per cabin just to book with Miss Darby. And I have our little call to action slide here with all your contact information. And Darby, I will pass it back to you.
Oh, great, Julie. Thank you so much for sharing, UnCruise. And it's an amazing destination to be able to get up and personal with Alaska, to be able to be right there on the land and, so close to nature. And I thank you very much for sharing UnCruise with me and my clients. And I look forward to getting clients up to Alaska on UnCruise. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Darby. Thank you all for listening to our presentation today. And I appreciate your time.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.